1,000 foreign workers have been evacuated by ship from the Libyan city of Mizrata as it came under more heavy bombardment from government forces. The city, which has become the symbol of resistance against Colonel Gaddafi's rule, has been under attack for weeks, and conditions are becoming increasingly desperate. Britain's now urging the United Nations to provide more humanitarian aid and has pledged itself to finance the rescue of thousands more people from Mizrata. Our Foreign Affairs correspondent Jonathan Miller is in Tripoli. His report does contain some distressing images.
In a city of snipers, cluster bombs and chaos, the rabble of the rebel army, disorganized, untrained insurgents, fends off Gaddafi's firepower.
No, they are quite dangerous, but they are panic at the main time. They can't concentrate well. They are randomly shooting, you know.
Stalingrad's Sarajevo, Mizrata, the 7-week medieval siege emerging as a tragic symbol of the deadlocked Libyan civil war. Humanitarian crisis exposing NATO's inability to stop the killing, turn the tide of war, or force regime change. Airstrikes can't protect the panicked, cornered residents of Mizrata.
1 month, maybe 10 times.
Salah Badi, a former Libyan fighter pilot, says that in a month he's called in the coordinates of this position at least 10 times. The NATO bombers haven't come, he says. Rebels claim they have no choice but to stand and fight.
Now I am staying in my town. I am defense in my town. I'm not going outside Mizrata. But when someone come into your town, try to kill you, what you do it? Should be your defense. Now we are defense.
An investigator from Amnesty International told me from Mizrata she'd witnessed rockets fired by Gaddafi's forces raining down on residential areas. She'd seen dozens of cluster bombs, she said. Mizrata's hospital administrator says 1,000 people may have been killed, 3,000 wounded. 260 bodies in the morgue since Friday. In Tripoli, the government forcefully denying what it brands outrageous allegations.
The army would not follow orders to kill civilians because this is the army of the nation, not the army of one person.
2 senior United Nations representatives met the Libyan Prime Minister and Foreign Minister yesterday here in the capital, Tripoli, and they secured agreement to establish a humanitarian presence here. But we only got wind of this last night, and Channel 4 News has since learned that the regime only agreed to meet them on condition that they didn't then go on to meet the Foreign Press Corps here. The UN's head of humanitarian affairs instead flew to rebel-held Benghazi via Malta, with Mizrata on her mind. But from the Libyan government, no promise of unfettered access from Tripoli by road.
I pushed very hard for a cessation of hostilities to enable us to do that and got no guarantees from the government in relation to that. As I said to the government, the first responsibility of any government is the safety and security of its citizens.
9-year-old Mohammed, with head injuries from shrapnel, a medical emergency evacuee today. Many children have been killed or badly wounded in Mizrata, a city where there's nowhere safe to play and nowhere left to run. At Mizrata port, desperation as thousands clamour to escape Gaddafi's blitzkrieg. The priority, evacuating foreign migrant workers. But frantic Libyans want out too, some even blocking roads to stop the migrants getting to the port. The British government is now taking a lead in pledging to fund further evacuations. For many tens of thousands, though, there's no way out. And with the UN mandate to protect civilians stretched to the max, there's little for them to hope for either. Jonathan Miller, Channel 4 News, Tripoli.